complex disease.
Yes.
I think they were saying that it's a syndrome, not even a disease, and so
Yes,
forth. And it's
and I
so
don't know if you have read Dr. Fauci's emails, like in BBC, it said that his emails suggest that the virus leaked from a lab, because he said it's very unlikely for a virus to be like this, with this adversity, to
yeah.
be free in the world like this naturally. So they said that it was definitely coming from a lab in his emails. And like
What I
2000, yeah.
would answer to this is that Fauci was standing for someone a bit independent in the Trump administration, but what we've got, the problem I would have on this kind of statement is that Fauci is a Trump administration guy. And even though he made sure that he didn't want to be incorporated fully with the administration, it's a government that wanted to thrive, that sold itself as a king liars, but
Yes,
they build their kingdom through lies.
yes,
So, because what I found, I don't know if you saw my post, is that I still incorporated scientists that say no, it is not possible.
yes,
It's coming from labs, or because there had been a bingo or smoke at one point, because the moment he went into mainstream media, this discussion, yeah, is what was it manipulated, like this virus was kind of man-made.
yes,
And then the whole scientist community say, no, this is not possible. We've got sample and this is not man-made, because it would be man-made. We would see a trace of manufacturing, basically, yes. But in fact, it eluded, he put aside the second best option, is it from a leak from the lab?
yes,
So it's not human manufacturing, but since there is this lab containing the coronavirus, it's just failing procedures and failings, basically. And here you are, you've got the virus outside this lab, and and doing its work and spreading it. Um, so yeah, so this was, so we can start. What I was wanted to say is to do, maybe it's just like reading of what is happening. Yes, sorry. So basically, what this episode is about, and it's kind of mind blowing. Is this what we are talking about with Wuhan? Everyone knows now where Wuhan is. I mean,
yes,
the world now know where Wuhan is that the last year's scoop, that should have been last year's scoop, is that in Wuhan, there is labs. In fact, there is not one lab, but there is two labs that is containing and by studying and that is researching and manipulating coronaviruses.
yes,
And is really extraordinary when you think that corona is coming from Wuhan, and there is two labs.
yes,
So you've got the lab, the security clearances kind of number 2, which is the lowest one. It's 300 meters from the wet market in China. So basically, what we can talk more about is about what these labs are.
yes,
Alors, first, in fact, it happens to be a French project. a French joint project with Chinese state. China, what happened is that they started a project on this lab about coronaviruses and other disease. And at the end of this project, when French poured, I don't know, millions and skilled academics and onto the project, they say the moment where it's kind of established, they say to the French, bye-bye, we don't need you any longer. So this I'm gonna read, for example, here is an extract from the Times. China prevented French experts from overseeing safety at its first high-security virus laboratory, which is now facing claim that it was the origin of the coronavirus pandemic, according to French officials. So the plan, the initial plan is that we oversee each other and we make sure, yes, a joint venture, basically. And from the moment where the lab is done and so forth, the Chinese state say, you know what, French people, you don't enter any longer, bye-bye to you, yeah? Also, what we have to say about this lab is that it was, so the laboratory in Wuhan was the first in China to have a biosafety level 4. They call that a BSL4 rating, which is reserved for institutions working with potential fatal agents. So basically, this kind of lab with so high rating for biosafety, there are just a few in the world. It's not they are not spreading like mushroom because it's so dangerous. It's because they are handling lethal viruses. So if there's a leak, and bioweapons and so forth. And the many reasons why it's not just done like this, but only if there's a leak, well, you can poison the whole. There is so there has been many incidents, and this was the US did it. Just one of few examples. The US did it. I think the Australia had problem as well, where they were about to release deadly viruses out there in the nature because of accident, because of error, mistake. There's one of them. They send. Instead of sending a dead virus, a dead form of a virus, they send something alive. So yeah. What more? Just to add something about this, so the French stopped that in 2015. They stopped it because there was no more ways to collaborate. Yeah, they were like out of the project. So, and it has been taken back by a US university or US project, enfin a US project, and they were sending yet again, it's big money, it's big pharma, if we can say like this, is big pharma, it's big chemical, blah blah, medical. So it's just that what we might have problem with the vaccine is that it's gonna be market business, few million and so forth, whatever. The US the Wuhan laboratory, what was initially a French project, has been taken over by the USA. And the USA were sending funds from 2015 until 2020, where Trump said, so it's said in the press is that they stopped funding this project, the Wuhan laboratory. The US stopped funding it just 1 week before Trump starting saying that it could be a leak from from this lab.
Yes, but it was considered a conspiracy theory at first, and then it became more serious when Dr. Fauci's emails were released out. They say like he had over 2,000 emails a day.
Yeah, we are faced also with China total censorship around it. We saw it that so the WHO professionals were not allowed in China. They were not allowed, and they have been recently, like 1 year after the big crash, they have been allowed in China, allowed in the country. But what is happening is like a CNN story, is that they say, okay, you're coming. They trace a path to where the professionals are coming. They are coming. We don't really know why they are coming. To what? To see the wet market. Alors, of course, a wet market must be very interesting in itself, because the wet market it's essentially a place where animals have been taken or have been farmed in condition it's unimaginable. Me, I'm a snake lover, for example. Snake have got very bad reputation. People say they are cold, they are inexpressive, and in fact they are all the opposite, and so forth. And you've got the way they farm snakes, for example, is that they open a door. Please get on the internet to see that. They open a door and you can see there's thousands and thousands and thousands of snakes in top of another in containers. I mean, it's madness. It is pure madness to see the condition in which they are farmed. Also, the condition in which they are hunted. Alors now we've got, we know about the pangolin by its innocent creature, and just taken. So you've got the animal condition behind all this, and these good thinking people, but realize that they unchained so much torture, and in this world, they shown death, they shown slaughter, they shown this terrible condition for other species. And one of the things is, wait a minute, yeah, this disease is coming. The diseases are coming from animals, so let's find a solution. I think, okay, what I'm going to find the solution? We're gonna kill animals. It's
an excuse.
Yeah. It's when you realize that it is effectively the official line that these people are taking, you realize that you are in simply a psychopathic at best society, yeah. And it's what it's really happening. Just to talk about China a bit more, though I'd like to say something is true that wet market, so basically is animals that are dying, they are skin alive. It's absolutely unbelievable what is happening out there, yeah. But I'd like to say that what is happening in Europe, in slaughterhouses, of course, it limits the extra torture that is happening out there, yeah. But it's the same principle, basically, yeah. But that these animals are bred and are fed just in order to feed that has become our species, basically, yes. And it's exactly, philosophically, it is just the same, yeah. It is just churning death, yeah, just out of pleasure, just out of opportunism. And when you follow some kind of raw logic, simple logic, yeah, you know that a moment or another, and in fact is it could be seen as rather late, because when someone is doing this philosophically as a colon, yeah, like let's say colon, yeah. That is to say, someone that thinks is superior, that think that people are here to be profited from, and so the problem here is that they think that nature is here to serve them and is weaker than them, and that nature didn't find yet, or whether nature is gonna have this reason, yeah, but to find a way to stop these atrocities is and so yeah, and so you've got the animal condition that in fact is all beyond this, because and it's very, in very practical term, you've got China, but after all of this, right, China said that okay, you know what, we find a treatment for COVID-19. It's gonna be bear bile. That is to say, they were farming bears to take out their biles and say it's gonna cure coronavirus, right? So that is to say, solution: create more torture, yeah. They slaughter 10,000 pets in China. Something 10,000 pets. Say to the owners, look, you're gonna have to kill your dog, your cats, whatever, because if they've got coronavirus, we don't want it to spread, and so forth, right? So yet again, solution: boom, you kill one, yeah. So basically, we are in the situation when more or less, me is my position. I am certainly not a scientist and so forth, but I found it so weird. But where it's originated, it's near this near a coronavirus lab that the Chinese had done everything on earth to keep outside. Assessment outside experts to try to assess what happened and so forth. Yeah, that's my fault. Yeah. And yeah, and so the plan B is to accuse animals on top of it all, and this I think was worth underlying. It's 10 years and blah blah blah, but maybe creating a vaccine, we've got the medicine's got the tricks to do so. So maybe it was not so an extraordinary product after all. If Cuba can produce its own, this is extraordinary enough. I know that Cuba is very well known for their doctors. They are sent internationally and so forth. And it just, I was listening something about this earlier this year, but I mean, Cuba is small, it's got doesn't get a lot of money, doesn't get a lot of labs, so if a global kind of collaboration might so. But yes, be very afraid of one long-term disease. Long-term disease is rather dissuasive and also infecting others.
Yes.
I mean, me, I wouldn't care because I really like, working on my own, winning on my own, and so forth. So, maybe everyone says this, it's this would be the freedom. But if you melt with others, if you mix with others, I don't know. I think that to have a decisive answer to this is to really know what the vaccine's qualities are made of, and this, my guess is that if the strength is go on getting stronger, and got one step ahead out of medicine. What I think is gonna be an answer that is gonna get more and more difficult to produce is that if this is getting like a race. Marketed race and with things coming from everywhere, just like when the population can't really afford. When like in Africa, for example, when these people and this is very worrying. There always has been when you've got patent in medicine that okay works, but you've got the African people that can't on earth buy the patented medicine. You know, there's a big scandal on and on is that the patent in medicine, for example, is worth £1. But £1 is too much for Africa, but let's say £1, yeah. And then £1, if it's for malaria and you need a pill every day, this is start being expensive for for every worker, every worker on earth, yeah. And what the patent they manage to design it in a way that the medication you find is not £1 any longer. The basic medication is not £1 any longer, but what they will sell to you is £10. So you should be able to buy it for £1, but since it's branded, it's customized or whatever, the medication is not worth what it costs to society. Let's say which is £1, but it's gonna cost £10. They're gonna sell you £10, and me, I am pretty sure that the danger of this becoming a common, like treated as a common medication that is you can afford, you can't afford it, you're gonna be crippled with a long-term effect, and you can afford, then you can circulate and blah blah.
So yeah, so this is a problem for poor countries as well. But I would say, yeah, but for poor countries, the strain is different. So then the risk is more.
Uh, no, because I think that is why this question are very in the air, while it is not for any other good, and it's why it is very much in the debates now, that will it be shared or not, is that the strain we saw it with the first wave. It's so powerful at going everywhere. I mean, we saw it all the time, because the strain coming from South Africa, from Brazil, from India, from the UK, they are coming from everywhere. They dispatch itself globally in like what, 6 months. No, it's why it's. I mean, in this way, it's gonna be very well widespread, because this virus, as we know it today, is gonna spread for everyone. That is for sure, and all the better. And all the better, because if not, it would be. If not, I mean, it could be. Used this way as a caste kind of, or class kind of, both, because for sure we saw it today. Economically is what is awful for the poor people who were into precariousness, precarity, unstable situation, and it's kind of a law in itself. If you've got in a society, if something is in crisis, it's got a problem, suffering from something, and there's a crisis on top of it affecting the same society as it works. Who is gonna suffer the most is the people who already were suffering. It's kind of a law in itself. So no, this is we end up, but I think it is not gonna be coronavirus. We will see that is something that is coming more potent. But what we were starting to see during the first wave is this possibility of cluttering everything or enclosing everything. That is to say, no, the lorries doesn't go through, no, the post doesn't go through. The first wave is what was happening. And they were right in the sense that if it has been the Black Plague, because we don't know what it could become, but we didn't know what it was at the beginning. So, but it's very frightening to see that. I don't know if you've got a water problem, for example. If your water is cut, how long are you gonna survive without water? How long are you gonna survive without supermarket? Just bit out of time. It's not bit out of topic, but it's something I like.
For the smallpox, it took place during the World War I, so there was like a shortage of food during the time, and there were so many people malnourished as well. So making them get the disease more frequently, be able to inhale the disease, smallpox. And so like I think, what do you think about the data?
Can you explain more about smallpox?
So what happened with smallpox is it took place in a time where the World War I was taking place. So there was also food shortage during World War I.
No, oui.
Yes. And that's why I think the deaths were exaggerated as well there, because people are dying from World War I as well. And lots of people were malnourished, and then what happens is this makes it more easy for them to be infected because they're not strong enough.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it goes hand in hand. Yeah, it's like the four horses of the apocalypse. There's death, there's disease, there's famine, and what else? Yes, there's another one. And war.
Yes.
So so they go hand in hand for sure. And there's one data that kind of collaborates something like this, is that the famine in Ethiopia in the 1980s in fact was a man-made famine. It's not because there was no food around. It's not because, in fact, it was during a year of good harvest and so forth, and powers such as European powers, maybe certainly USA and so forth, sent food just around. There were a few hundred kilometers from people who were dying from hunger. Well, certainly as it is happening now in Yemen, and people were dying from hunger, not because of not having food at proximity. It's because the roads were cut. That's all.
Yes.
No circulation any longer. Will it be a good, reasonable solution to take the vaccine if it's become ridiculously a matter of money and and it goes rogue, and there's a lot of things that is going rotten
Yeah,
and
and
going so.
what we can say with all discoveries is that there is always something going wrong with the recent discoveries.
Yeah, but this I think is our fate. Huh? It's our fate because
Yeah,
we
because
want it. There is a very very insolent and attitude toward that. Is people saying, you know what, we can kill it all, we can poison it all, we can do anything we want because one day there's gonna be a genius out there and they will solve everything. Yeah, they will solve the decay. How is it called? Nuclear rubbish that we put under the earth with simply cement covering it all. We're gonna find a solution about the millions, billions of gallons that poison earth. Earth, soul, and we find a solution. We're
yeah,
gonna anyhow we're gonna go and go to exile in on Mars or
mm,
on elsewhere, and how we will find a solution. And it's not true. It is not true. If you do something wrong, you've got to make it right, and you don't have to make it right by finding some kind of accommodation. You have to find a solution, but make it right from the start. And being here, not knowing what is gonna happen and what if the medication are gonna to save us from this epidemic, it is not in our power to say.
yes, and the thing is that many medical professionals are also not talking about it. The thing is that yeah,
Oh,
because they're afraid of their reputation, they're afraid of their job
oh.
security.
Oh, it's certainly so in that kind of market,
Yes,
because it's this is more and more and more pyramidal.
like a hierarchy.
Yeah. And also is because they know that even it's what is again it's worrying about kind of balance, equilibrium and balance internationally. It's now is gonna be so much complicated to even start to start creating a vaccine. But maybe, and this is changing very quickly. For example, France. Huh?
Yes.
Pasteur has been a leading Pasteur institution. No, France doesn't rank in the best university a lot globally, but there's a reason for it as well, is because we've got institute. So it's not to do with university, with courses, with teacher. It's to do with researchers, and these institutes are not counted when it comes to world-leading universities, because they are not universities; they are institutes. And you've got the Pasteur Institute that used to be a leading in this game. Yeah, I mean. It took 10 years. It just took 10 years. 10 years was enough to put pastors somewhere else. I mean, like us at the second or third place. And just a word on it, and I just a note, because I absolutely don't know more about it. I was listening to France Culture program, and the guy said that the people working for Pasteur, and is something else, the chemical, the big pharma things, I forgot their name. They were very surprised the way they have been asked to process about their trying to make a vaccine. They were very surprised because it was outside normal protocol. And there's at least there are one or two experts that say that it is because they didn't respect the normal protocols, but they failed to produce a vaccine that maybe would not be so successful at Pfizer, for example, but that would have been a vaccine, because we end up with nothing, basically. Yes. And also, of course, is the spirit of research as well, to create path you're not sure about, but that might create at the end that might create the thing that is solving everything, instead of going on the same paths all the time. But what I think the expert was saying, that is so weird that Pasteur didn't make it.
Yes.
And as you say, it's so pyramidal, is so much about promotion, is so much about big money, like hustling, you see, as that they ask you to lose or they ask you to win according to how you gonna make more money for your family.
The thing is that the people also are depending on a very qualified person to come up and speak. And then the thing is that there is a loss of trust also when somebody else comes and speak, because like even I tried bringing students, it's like they don't recognize the student. So
bon, there might be reason is that just speaking of me, I admit it happened to me many times to be very sure about something, how to do and so forth, and not knowing the shortcoming of if you do something like this, why you won't do something like this. Sometimes you really need more experience and more data, or it's simply because it's something that is very common sense what you are saying. But it's simply because in that kind of structure, the way they play their game, it can't be done, and that's all. But you're right. But also there is something that is happening, is that if someone is appointed to be the chief of the operation, there is reason for that. That is to say, they rarely will appoint someone that is thinking A if they want them to think B. So if they want, is the game is commercialization instead of research, which is the art of the problem. It's this is more what kind of money can we make instead of what kind of knowledge can we gather. Then the guy that is appointed is not the one that want research to be at the heart of it all. That is for sure. There is many talented people out there. We've got the human mind, is curious mind, is a mind you can train, is a brain that you can, and we've got our special connection, that is to say, on a subject, on a problem, we all find some kind of different adaptation and so forth, right? And that there is one guy appointed out of thousand and thousand, it already doesn't make sense a lot. So who is making it to be appointed? It's still a question. I was just watching a documentary on the World War II. And it was about people who, so math geniuses and also engineer. Both of them, they needed two person to solve this. There was the first part was mathematical, and the second part taken by someone else that was engineering. And they created a machine to decipher the Nazi messages. It's like the Enigma film, but it was not Enigma. It was two other guys. So it was not Turing, this one. It was two other guys, and they were talking about what they had done. And at the end of a documentary, they say, these guys, they just they almost didn't get any reward for that, because it was it's very well known story. It's not very well known because they adding it. It was top secret information, and so the government said to these two guys, no, you don't speak about what you did, because it was still under Cold War, I suppose, and all of this. So it was top secret. And those guys, yes, there one that had something at university, and the other one, I don't know what, but not afterward they achieved. Yes, afterward they achieved, instead of doing something else in the afterward world. They kind of have been, okay, thank you very much for your work, and you can go graze, somewhere else, basically. So what they did, they went to Canada. One stayed in the UK, but it was, extremely disappointing. If we know that if you decipher Nazi, so Hitler's message, it's thanks to that war had been shortened by at least a couple of years, because you knew where they were about to eat and so forth. And even these people, yeah, because they were appointed because, of course, they were running programs still, yeah. But even these people who saved us from the war, they haven't been rewarded afterwards. So this is another kind of bizarre consequences. We all know. Did you watch Enigma?
No.
So Enigma is a film with Benedict Cumberbatch, and it's about Alan Turing, and Alan Turing, who is more famous, and who deciphered, who made this first machine. By the way, Turing didn't employ the guy who made possible to build the second machine, who deciphered the Hitlerian message. But Turing made kind of deciphered Enigma, Nazi message, so deciphered the war messages. And he was a gay. He was homosexual. Yes, he was a gay man. And it's because of being convicted to be a gay man after the Second World War, and he has been they chemically castrated him in the UK. A war hero of this. You don't castrate anyone for being gay. It's not like I'm amused at all, but but they castrate their war hero, because it's like incredible what this guy did it for World War II. Yes, not for the UK, is that against Nazism. And this guy, the same as the Nazi, they take the guy and they castrated him. So, and one of the big scandals also on World War II is our Nazi scientists have been employed by the US on rockets after World War II. They employed
like spaceships, right?
Huh?
Spaceships?
Yeah. Spaceships. Spaceships, yes.
And
in particular.
they were telling that the bell, do you know the bell? The Nazi bell? Was actually, there was something kind of UFO associated device inside the bell that would transform itself and then leave it in the night. I'm not sure about that. It's about
Like
the Nazi bell.
No, like a BELL.
Yeah.
No.
The Nazi.
And also, and so what it was is a chemical weapon.
No, it's a it's a UFO device that
Ah,
leaves.
ok, d'accord.
So high technology.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, like all this technology, I'm not sure if there's not as well nuclear kind of, and also the spice.
Yes.
It was sort of
Yeah.
spice to feed Cold War, which was so it was a very active member of a Nazi.
Yes. But if you look through history, you will see that people of the current day or the modern day science society, medical society is way behind, because people from the long time ago have actually found out all of these things. They have found out all of these things, and that's why we are behind. Because the thing is that if you come from one of the Eastern countries, they say that the West stores spices from the East, but they don't know how to use it. The West stole artifacts from the East, but they don't know how to read it. Yes.
D'accord.
Yeah.
You are you talking Cold War
No,
or
this is like history in general.
yeah, okay.
Yes. It's like they don't know how to use spices, but they have
Mm.
spices.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. They have most of the artifacts from the East. So when you go to British museums, you see most of the stuff from the Mayan era in the British Museum. Or if it's for Sri Lanka, for example, most of the stuff are kings and queens' crowns. Everything is in the British Museum.
Yeah.
Everything.
Spices they're worth more than gold at one
Yeah.
point in history. Yeah, and also it's been used for like turmeric
Yeah.
is so medicinal.
It's like
Yeah.
medicinal
Oh
property.
yeah, of course, our plants and all. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's a bit of a problem with these museum things, because the problem would be to give it back, for it to be one destroy, and two privatized as well. So it's problem. I think it happened. In Africa. They have been returned, and when terrorists start destroying the antiquity artifacts, and just for so this my guess is that is still something that is kept in mind.
Yeah.
Are you And there's a problem as well, that it's completely disconnected, that they have been taken just as object of some value, presenting some skills or presenting some material, and but in fact it has been the range from their symbolism, and from the all culture, architecture they were part of. So
Yes, so the
yeah.
thing is that there is like a debate over natural immunity and vaccine acquired immunity, because they now in the times of crisis, they say that even the most detrimental cancers have been cured by holistic methods and Ayurveda, while the artificial medicine medical centers is like way behind all this research. And the thing is that they're saying that even coronavirus is also can be cured, holistically.
Mhm. I
Instead,
believe this.
yeah,
Yeah, I believe this. But the problem it is that uh, what I believe this in kind of an ecosystem thing,
yes,
is that would raise naturally from nature
yeah,
could be cured naturally by it. But we are in a double kind of barrel problem here. Is
yeah,
that one, it hasn't come naturally. It has occurred because we are a predatory species, and this is not even the word we should use for what we have other species endure. So it's not natural. It's really uh, um, the evil part we are playing on that, yes, but is creating
Yeah.
it once. And the second part is that since we are destroying everything all around, is that there is no the plants that can cure it
Yeah.
has been killed already.
No, it's for some people in some regions of the world, they keep it like, and then they restore it, like they preserve it. It's not all gone. And some people,
But but I don't think it's gonna be possible. Very, of course, I am not diminishing
yes,
at all the
yes,
effort.
yes,
I mean, the first effort you can do if you've got a garden, you put a bird
yes,
bath, yeah.
yeah,
But the bird, they can at least they can have a clean water, and they can drink, and they can clean themselves,
yes,
right? And you pick something like peanuts. Peanuts is not local for me, but like something they can eat and so forth. Yes, and it's very very important to do that, like keeping plants that help insects, that help I don't know, bees, beetles, and so forth, right? Because we've lost our beetles, but it's very paramount for course. Fertilization and so forth. But what I think is that even if we do, the local solution to a global problem it is what is in power. So we've got to do it, but it's not gonna be enough. If it's not globally done, and it's we've got is this, for example, in Himalayas and so forth, we've got a lot of people that are reacting about the loss of their seeds and the
yeah,
loss of diversity and so forth. But where will they be about to do for example, facing climate change, when the whole water and snow circle is gonna be completely is being
yeah.
completely destroyed. There is
So there is a problem there as well. That's why they're trying to do that. That's why they're trying to prevent it from happening with Bill Gates' climate
yeah
change.
yeah
Yeah,
we know the same woman, I think.
yeah,
She used to be she's the one campaigning about that. She was like an astrologist or something like this, or she was a scientist, and she's from Nepal, of
Nepal.
the Himalayan region, and she's a big campaigner about that. I think she called that the one system or something like this, yeah. And she's campaigning against Microsoft and Montserrat because they steal the seed, and they repatent. They steal the seed. They say, "Hey, it's mine. You're my brand, and you can't use anymore unless you buy it from me." It's Masha Corporation, huh? But we know it. We've just had the G7 with Biden and the rest of
Yeah,
the clique. It's good to try to prevent China from being hegemonic, like to become an hegemon. That is to say, a power that goes against others, and in order to subdue them. Yeah, but with what is happening with Google not paying tax. Will in a click will be able to enslave them if they want to, and this what